Hello and welcome. This is the Zen community of Oregon, making the teachings of the Buddha Dharma accessible to support your practice. New episodes air every week.
Evening, everyone. Beginning to take refuge in the Buddha, take refuge in the Dharma, take refuge in the Sangha. I'm going to begin a series of talks on turning problems into wisdom, fundamental aspect of the Dharma. And basically, it's a version of the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths everybody gets encounters in Buddhism 101 in high school, if they ever get that far. Is the Four Noble Truths are basically everybody's got problems. And and the third noble truth is, well, there's a solution to the problems. So this is basically a version of that, is we all have problems, we all got challenges, and how do we turn those problems and challenges into assets, into wisdom, into loving kindness? So I like to say challenges rather than dukkha. Dukkha is the technical term. Dukkha means suffering. It means the friction of a wheel that goes around. And so we often talk about in living this life, there's friction. You know, you've got the friction of you get up in the morning and your body hurts. You've got the friction of you got to eat. You've got the friction of things don't agree well with you. You've got the friction of relationships and earning money and traffic and smog. It's all friction. You know, it's all friction. But I like the term challenge is better, because it doesn't mean it's not just a passive thing, but it means that our life is always asking us to meet it, to meet it, to meet it. Everything's workable, everything we can meet, everything. And so the first noble truth is we all have lots of places that we can grow, lots of challenges, lots of things that we can meet. And of course, those challenges are true for every culture, every gender, every age, every socioeconomic position. Everybody has got challenges. The challenges may look different, and we may think from the outside, oh, I would prefer their challenges than my challenges. I think they have a much easier time than I do. Sometimes that's true, some level, and sometimes it's not true. We all heard lots of cases where people who are rich and wealthy have committed suicide. And then we have experiences where Hogen was talking to me one time about being in Delhi, in India, and he said that he met people who were living on the street who were just joyful and happy. So all the great practitioners, the Buddha and all the great sages, practitioners, say that it is possible, the world is completely a mess, and it is possible to find liberation. Peace, satisfaction, whatever term you want to use. We all want happiness. Nobody wants to suffer. Basic truth. And even people whose minds are so confused that they are inflict pain upon themselves. Somehow, even that, their hope is that it will give them some benefit. They'll have some experience. They'll feel something deeply. Nobody wants to really suffer. We all want happiness. Now, in the religious traditions, we use for that third noble truth, liberation is possible, nirvana, awakening, salvation, the faith, the consummation of faith, redemption, atonement, predestination. Not quite right. And when we go shopping, we have a problem or a desire, and we go shopping. And when we're shopping, we want the best, the most effective thing, right? We want something that's cost-effective, something that works. And if we have a plumbing problem, we want to pay somebody who actually knows what they're doing, who has the technology, who has done this before. If you're going to have surgery, you want a surgeon who's had a lot of experience. Of course, they start from zero, of course, which is, you can't tell. We want a solution that works. So when we're talking about Dharma, we all want this solution that works. We've got problems and challenges. What's the solution to turn those into something that's meaningful and juicy? Okay? So first, we need to have hope that that's possible. Regardless of what all the great sages have said, if we don't have any hope that's possible, if we don't have any conviction ourselves, then it doesn't go very far. So we have talks like this, or we have readings and things that inspire us. We have to have the feeling of hope, that yes, it is possible for me to find liberation, to find freedom, to find peace, to find satisfaction. It is possible for me. Some people doubt that. But again, all the great sages say that's. Secondly, once we think it's possible, we have to then find the means. We have to have the conviction, I can find the means to do this. I can find a workable solution. I can do that. Without the confidence that it is workable, without the confidence that somehow or other, somewhere, there is a means for me to do this work, it's hard to go very far. And then if we do find a solution, that resonates with us, then we have to have the determination to actually apply the remedy. Oftentimes people will feel despair because they have no hope of ever improving. That's one level of problem. And secondly, they actually have a religious practice. They have some kind of 12-step program. They have something, and they don't have the conviction that they can succeed. Third, they sometimes don't have the conviction that even though they have the hope, they have the tools, that they personally are able to implement this, or they have the determination to implement this. So, in essence, everything is workable. If we think it is, everything is workable. All of our challenges are workable. And what does that mean, workable? First off, it means that we have the skills and ability in who we are right now to meet the exigencies, to meet the challenges of our life, and to turn those challenges from liabilities into wisdom, to turn our suffering into loving kindness. We have the capacity to do that. It's very, very important. We have the capacity to make that transformation. It is not an abstract philosophical idea. It is one that works with our ordinary life. So part of what we're going to be doing in these next 6 to 8 talks is trying to explore, if we have the faith, if we have the practice, how can we do that? How can we take the challenges that we have? Now, it's helpful to think about what kind of problems can the Dharma help us solve. Now, if you've got a plumbing problem, you don't come to the Zendo. Or if you have a plumbing problem and you ask me to help, it will take you 4 times longer and cost twice as much, 4 times as much as it would a real plumber. So the Dharma is good for certain kinds of things. If you're having trouble with your car payments, the Dharma will not magically, generate a pocket full of money. But if you have trouble with self-esteem, if you have trouble with interpersonal relationships, if you have trouble with intrapersonal relationships, if you have trouble with a relationship with reality, if you have trouble with motivation, if you have trouble with aspiration, that's where the Dharma can really be of benefit. So it's important to know what are we looking for. If people are having trouble with their rent, there are other solutions than coming here. If you're having trouble with your car, there are other solutions. We all know that, it's pretty obvious, but just to be really clear that if we're having trouble with relationships, if we're having trouble with our relationship with reality, the Dharma can meet that. The Dharma can help us meet that. Okay. Now, all of us tend to want a solution that will cover as many bases as possible. I mean, that's why money is so attractive. You know, we think, if I get money, I can solve this problem, and this problem, and this problem, and this problem, and this problem. And the more money I have, the more problems I can solve. We've all thought like that, right? If you haven't been around this world very long. But as we know, there are some things that money can solve and some things it can't solve. And it can't solve the heart's dissatisfaction. It can't solve the hungriness of our essence. It can't solve the broken feeling or the inadequate feeling. It can't solve that, no matter how much we earn or how much we get. And of course, when we're looking at trying to transform our challenges into wisdom, into heart, we all have lots of easy solutions that come to mind. And that's what our whole culture is based on, you know. You're feeling lonely, and you can Google remedies for loneliness. And I guarantee you'll have 500,000 hits about remedies for loneliness, which will include buying a new peeler for your kitchen, you know. People will try to monetize and sell anything. So we have the impulse that we have been trained because of our culture. We have been trained to say, if you've got a problem, you know, look on the internet and you'll find the answer to the problem. I guarantee there is no existential question that DeepSeek or ChatGPT or, you know, any of the other AI will not be happily give you an answer for. Happily. And almost free. So there are solutions that are temporarily helpful. You know, it's good to have a meal if you're hungry. It's good to get a car repairment. But for the important and compelling problems of our lives, the problem of the heartache, the problem of the dissatisfaction, the split in us, the problem of our own sense of inadequacy, the problem of our fear of our own mortality, that does not come about by magic. It can't be bought. It has to be a living transformation, a living experience. So in Buddhism, the first skill that we get to cultivate is having a clear mind. Because without a clear mind, it just goes from foggy, murky to foggy, murky. We have a foggy, murky solution in our mind, and we try a foggy, murky solution with foggy, murky applications. So the first thing that we talk about in this is, how do we have a clear mind? A clear mind a clear mind can address everything. Without a clear mind, we have the ability to mess everything up, as we all know from our lives. Right? So, how do we have a clear mind? First off, that's why we come to learn to practice, to learn the foundation of practice. We learn the foundation of practice of being present, being with our own body. We learn the foundation of practice of right here, right now. There's a place of ease. Right here, right now, when I begin to truly inhabit my body, and I let go temporarily of all that stuff in the background, I let go temporarily of all those worries about the future, and I come into this moment, I can actually find there's a place of clarity. And it doesn't matter if we're rich or poor, or whether we've got a zillion problems or only half a zillion problems. You know? Right here, right now, there is a place of clarity. Now, you can come to meditation and you can find a place of clarity, and your life is still a total mess. Because the clarity that you can have in meditation is not adequate in itself. It's a foundation, it's really important. Because without that clarity, none of the other remedies work. So the clarity of mind is what we first cultivate. the ability to be present so that we can see things clearly and directly. If we have clear mind and some information and some skill, that works out pretty well. So, as I was saying, I think I said it this morning, I don't know. If you want to make a meal, you can have a clear-minded inspiration for, I want to make a banquet. I'd love to invite all of you for dinner, and have a clear intention about that. But if I don't have any ingredients, it's not going to happen. Or if I don't have the containers, if I don't have any pots or pans or tables. So a clear mind is like having the inspiration to have a banquet, but we still need some other things for that to actually come about. We still need some tools. Then, in part of a clear mind, we have to really look and say, okay, is what I'm experiencing right now truly clear? Or am I blotting things out? Or am I really actually full of fear? Am I actually running away? We have to come into the present moment, and then we can begin to look at the nature of mind and see, what is the blurring that is keeping me from seeing my life and my relationships? If we are run by fear, we can be in the zendo, our mind can be calm and clear, but if that fear is still running us, it's really hard because all the solutions come out of fear. So we have to actually see the clear mind, settle ourselves enough to find a place of no fear. If you want a courageous solution, it can't come out of a fearful mind. So that's part of what practice is. Coming in here, breathing deeply, settling, really beginning to know ourselves, to see what's the motivation, what's the experience. Part of that has to do with thought. So a mixture of thought and habit. We come in here, we sit down, our thoughts are continuing to rage, they just keep, whatever habits of mind we have, they just keep going. We can finally sometime calm them down a little bit, but our beliefs about ourselves are still fully intact. So part of a clear mind is sitting down, looking directly, and beginning to sort out the beliefs that we have about life. Is it true? Are these beliefs true? So, clear mind. Second thing is in terms of solving problems, in terms of transferring problems into wisdom, is to decide, is this really my problem? You know, so many times we think, I'm responsible for this, I'm responsible for that, I'm responsible for my wife's, projects, I'm responsible for my children, I'm responsible for the starving children in Uganda, I'm responsible for... To actually look directly and say, what am I responsible for? Is this my responsibility? I can appreciate it, I can feel sympathy, I can know it, but if it's not mine, I can let it go. We get ourselves into all kinds of messes. All of us do, and that's how we learn, of course. And so you're with somebody who's gotten themselves into a big mess. And you can't solve it. We can't solve somebody else's mess. We can try to inspire them to look at themselves. We can try to inspire them and hope to encourage them. We can be a cheerleader for them, but we can't solve their messes. Somebody may have gotten themselves deeply in debt, and we can give them a loan or give them some money, but that doesn't solve the mind that got them into debt. So is it my problem? If it's not my problem, I'll let it go. The weather is not our problem. So we just let it go. So deciding, Byron Katie has that thing, she says, is it my problem, your problem, or God's problem? So if it's God's problem, earthquakes, volcanoes, let it go. If it's somebody else's problem, let it go. If it's your problem, something you're responsible for, okay, that's where you have to apply the clear mind. Now, one of the things about my problem is it my opinion that the world should be different than it is it my opinion that it should snow more. According to me, we should have a better winter. According to me, we should have a better winter, and I'm going to start worrying about, okay, why do we not have a better winter? We're having a better winter because of global warming. We don't have a better winter because of the ozone layer. We don't have a better winter because of so much industrial pollution. We don't have a better winter because... And before we know it, we don't have a better winter because the whole world has gone crazy. That's not our problem. A better winter is out of our hands. If you want to donate something to a particular cause, great. If you want to go out and put your feet on the ground, great. But it's not our problem. A clear mind is not going to solve the global warming. Now, if we have a clear mind and other people have a clear mind and there's lots of clear minds around and open hearts, well, that will transform the world, of course. But it starts with, we have to have, my problem is, first off, my own narrow, hard heart, narrow mind, and confusion. Let's solve that problem. That is our problem. When we have a clear mind, then we actually can listen to other people. When we have a clear mind, we can articulate things much more effectively. When we have a clear mind, we can have respect for the mystery that's all around us. When we have a clear mind, then we watch a lot of things just solve themselves. We don't have to be in charge of it. So, clear mind. Slow down. That's why we come to meditate. Slow down. Doing. I've got to get this, I got to get this, I got to get this, I got to get this. My to-do list is longer and longer, and the more things I put on it, the more things there are to put on it. Slow down. So we come to the zendo, we slow down. Don't live your life half-heartedly and like you're in slow gear, but temporarily you slow down. Okay, I want to slow my thoughts down, I want to slow my body down, I'm going to sit so that I can really reflect. Secondly, it's helpful to describe a particular problem without emotion, without judgment and fear. I have a problem with paying my mortgage. Okay, that's a fact. Krishnamurti, the great Indian sage, he says it's really important that we not confuse facts and problems. The fact is, I'm having trouble paying my bills. Just a fact. It has no emotional, it's just a fact. We don't need to make facts problems. The problem comes in and says, it shouldn't be this way, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. It's just a fact. We'll respond to it however we can respond to it. So that's a very interesting thing to work with is don't make facts into problems. Don't make facts into problems. The fact's just a fact. Lights are on in this room, it's a fact. The floor is made out of old growth fur, it's just a fact. Our hands move like this, the elbows doesn't move backward, it's just a fact. So the mind starts making facts into problems. Oh, that means the fact this is an old growth fur floor means that it's tender and dry and it might burn. And it might burn very readily and we might get caught in here. There might be a flame from the candle that gets on this floor and the floor just goes up and before we know it, we have a flash fire, we're all consumed and the mind will just do that. We all know that, we've all done that many times. The fact is, there's a floor. Fact is, it's burnable. Fact is, it's not a problem. The problem is all when we are adding the future worried mind to it. So to describe something without anything extra is actually helpful. To decide, is this my problem or not? And the last piece right here is the element of time causes us so much distress. I've got to solve this problem right now. I've got to solve this problem right now. And we have incredible pressure. I've got to do it right now, right now, right now. But actually, problems often are solved over a longer period of time than we would like. Our fearful mind says, I got to get it right now. But over a longer period of time, if we have the ability, then our vow comes into place, then problems will arise and disappear, and solutions will become evident. So the first part, transforming problems into wisdom, clear mind, be present, slow down, describe the problem without emotion, just as a fact, and hold it in time. Okay? Clear and concrete enough? That's the first phase. Anybody have any comments or insights or objections or?
Thank you for listening to the Zen Community of Oregon podcast, and thank you for your practice. New episodes air every week. Please consider making a donation at zendust.org. Your support supports us.